You've probably heard the term zero trust everywhere lately, but what exactly does it mean for you as a reseller or an IT leader trying to secure your environment? Today, I want to look at 3 attributes of zero trust, and then we're going to talk about 4 practical steps you can take to implement it. Hey guys, Alex Riles here from MicroAge. So what exactly is zero trust? I'll start by saying it's definitely not a product. It is a way of life. It is a way to architect your security infrastructure. It's a mindset. So it's the idea that we're going to assume that everybody is a potential breach point, and we're going to verify they're exactly who they say they are every single time. So why exactly does zero trust matter? It's because, did you know that almost 80% of data breaches start with credential theft? Someone logs in with a username and password that's not their own, and now they're in your network. And once they come inside, they move laterally. East-west traffic is what we call it. They log into one system or business application and they pivot to another system or business application. A good example of this is VPNs. There was a recent breach of a very large company where the bad guys came in through compromised password credentials through a virtual private network into the corporate network. Once they were inside, they started to do reconnaissance and they logged into several different business applications, several different networks, and they were able to infiltrate the environment. So how does zero trust help us prevent this type of attack? I want us to talk about 3 attributes of a zero trust environment. And the first is that we're gonna explicitly verify every request that comes into the environment. It's not enough to provide a username and password. Maybe we also need to check in other ways that you are exactly who you say you are. We're gonna explicitly verify you no matter if we think we know you or not. Number 2 is the idea of least privilege. This is the concept that when you log in, I'm only going to give you enough access to go where I think you need to go and not just everywhere. If I invite you into my home to watch a game on a Saturday, probably I'm going to give you access to my living room so you can sit on the couch and watch the game, and maybe the kitchen so you can get snacks and a drink. But you're not necessarily going to have access to my bedroom, right? In the same way, we do this with networks as well. Least privilege is the idea that we give someone access just enough to what they need to do. Unfortunately, a lot of companies abuse this concept, especially with administrator accounts and root level accounts. Let's say you have a contractor coming in to do a big project and they need access to several areas of your network. It can be quicker and easier to give them administrator access to log in wherever they need to go because you might not know ahead of time where you need them to go. But the idea of least privilege is locking them down and taking the time to only give them the roles they need in your environment. It is tedious and you might have to come back and make several iterations of it, but it's incredibly important. Number 3 attribute of a zero trust network infrastructure is to always assume someone is capable of a data breach. Even if you think you know who's logging in, don't necessarily trust them. Did you know that insider threat is one of the larger areas of compromise for a lot of companies? Disgruntled employees who are not really legal employees. You might have signed them on and they're actually a foreign nation state actor who convinced you to hire them. This happens every single day. Assume everyone is a potential breach point and treat them that way. So 4 practical steps to implement zero trust in these 3 attributes we just described. And the first is deploy multi-factor authentication and conditional access in your environment. Multi-factor authentication is the idea that I'm providing more than just something I know in my head, which is a password, but maybe also something I have, like a code that's texted to your phone or comes out of an authenticator app. Maybe it's somewhere you are, meaning you can only log in if you're in certain geographical locations, like a certain country. Maybe it's some when you are, which means I can only log in certain times of day. The idea of multi-factor authentication is to make sure that there's more than just a password required to access your network. We can implement this with concepts like Microsoft's conditional access, where I need to be coming in from an authorized device, from an authorized location, from an authorized time in order to access the environment. The second practical step you can take to implement Zero Trust is network segmentation. A lot of our networks are pretty flat. Once you log in, you can see any device on the network with a basic port scan. But micro-segmentation is the idea that we put little micro firewalls up around your business applications, or maybe around segments of your network. So when a user logs in, they cannot pivot right or left, east or west, onto other networks or business applications. This works great if you're a bad guy who gets in and you're containing them into one area. An idea of network or micro-segmentation is the idea that I invite you into my home, but in order to go to every single room of my house, I station someone there to check your ID. My kids are in front of all my doors, and if you want to go into the bathroom, I have to check your ID. If you want to go to the kitchen to get a drink, I check your ID. This is the idea of micro-segmentation. The third area of focus for practical implementation of Zero Trust is to enforce device compliance. Wouldn't it be cool if we could limit someone's ability to log into my environment based on the device they log in from? For instance, maybe you have to be on a corporate issue laptop, and I know that because I've encrypted the hard drive, I've deployed my endpoint security agent to it. Maybe that device has certain other software applications or attributes that make it our corporate issue laptop. If you're not on our corporate issue laptop, you simply can't log into the environment. That is implemented with conditional access, but it is all about device compliance. Now, the fourth area that I think is incredibly important in order to implement Zero Trust is logging and monitoring of all the data coming into the network and the business applications and your identity system. And we do this so that if there's a breach, we can replay the past and figure out exactly what happened, how did the bad guy get in, where might he have laterally pivoted in the environment, and this tells us the threat level that we're facing. Maybe it's one simple device that was compromised, in which case I can rebuild that device and we go about our day. But if I have evidence through the logs that that bad guy pivoted to other applications, other databases, other servers or systems, then my response needs to be proportionally escalated. So, 3 attributes of Zero Trust. Verify explicitly people are who they say they are. Implement least privilege in your environment. And assume that everybody is a potential breach point. Now, how do we practically implement this? Number 1, implement strong multi-factor authentication in your environment. Number 2, micro-segment your network. Number 3, enforce device compliance to limit the devices that can log in through your user accounts. And number 4, monitor and log everything so you can replay the past. So, implementing Zero Trust is not an overnight project. It takes time to implement. It's really a shift in the way we think about architecting our environments. If you're struggling to get started, I would recommend you start with one area. Maybe it's your identity and access management system by implementing multi-factor authentication. Maybe it's your data system by classifying your data. Maybe it's your business applications by implementing role-based access control or attribute-based access control to your applications. Wherever you need to start somewhere, and let's get going on Zero Trust. Hope this has been helpful, and stay safe out there against those bad guys. Thanks.